Okay. Um, wow, I just want to let you know I got hit with a massive Zoom bill because of all the recordings. I'm uploading at minimum 5 hours just in class videos every week. And they just hit me with a $200 bill.
I didn't know they did that. I haven't, I have an account, but I haven't loaded videos up, so I didn't know they charged extra for storage like that.
Yeah. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to upload them to YouTube. In my next class, I'll just upload them to YouTube and delete them out of Zoom. That way I'm not paying exorbitant prices for them having to store. Anybody have any readings or anything that they want to mention, or questions, thoughts, concerns,
Hi,
anything?
Terry. I do.
Yes.
So, I actually had the opportunity to meet Victoria in person because I was going up to Napa and we met in person. It was great. And she did a reading for me because I did a reading for her last Sunday. And so it was great to actually have a reading in person with her. And she did a phenomenal job. It was great. I really appreciate Victoria. It was great to have that in-person connection. And I just have to say her reading, I just connected on all points with what she was saying. So hats off to Victoria. It was awesome. And thank you. Thank you for meeting me. It was great.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. Now, you guys, at some point here in either July or August, I'm going to try to get it together and have everybody to my house for the party, a little celebration. So it'll be all of you guys because you're all local. And then the ones in my morning class that are local will come and join us as well. So we'll have a little get together and I'll cook. I just tackled Thai food last night and made chicken with green curry. Oh my
I
God.
have a really good red curry recipe.
Phenomenal. Oh, I'm so proud of myself. So anyway. Okay, let me get our little screen share thing going on here and we'll be good to go. If I can find it. Okay, I think it's right here. And okay, I need that little thing to move so I can do what I need to do. Okay, we're about to finish the cups. The Page of Cups, first member of the court cards of the suit of cups. What do you see in the Page of Cups? Anything in particular? What do you feel out of the Page of Cups?
Kind of a young energy or young person's energy.
Very much, very youthful. The other thing is androgyny. Do you see the androgyny on the card? It's like
Yes.
you can't tell whether it's male or female. And again, it's cups, so it's emotional, it's creative, it's inventive, it's very psychic, very spiritual.
They're holding red flowers also, so it kind of looks like they're possibly making a love offer. Or up like a passionate offer, I mean, with the red. Yeah.
And it's a tulip which comes out in springtime. So it's the aspect of emerging. It can be emerging love. It can be emerging emotion coming into a new foresight.
This is the card I used to use for myself all the time. And I love the blue. I love the waves coming out of the hat. And I love the fish jumping out of the cup. And then, it's interesting. This has the red and the blue, but I've always liked this card a lot.
Yeah, it's a very good card. Soft, it's gentle. It's got a nice, fresh, youthful perspective. probably the best interpretation that I have of this card, way back in like 2001, when I was teaching my first class, Crystal Way, I had a fellow in my class who was all of 18 years old, little fellow from Fresno, and he was so open. Oh my God, you guys, he was just like a little sponge, and he absorbed the tarot. He was obsessed with the tarot, and he became an amazing reader in the course of the course. So, and he would just get so excited and had such a fresh take and was willing to take risks and kind of the Page of Cups has a little bit of an essence of the Fool connected to him, or her, whichever it is. The Page of Cups carries the energy of the astrological elements of the water signs. So it's the sign of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. My thing is doing that again, guys. Sorry. All right. Emotional, spiritually focused, artistic, dreamy, caring, kind, the typical aspect of what we're going to see when the Suit of Cups people. They're very empathic and extremely understanding, sensitive, and very sincere. The Page of Cups is always a messenger of good news. Woohoo! Good news. Good news in love and relationships. Anything that is an emotional involvement, anything that would make you excited. Now, it can be for you, or it can be for family or friends or someone close to you. It's just a positive omen all around. The Page of Cups is sympathetic, humanitarian, youthful, bright, inventive, artistic. He always has numerous options around him in career development with balance and discipline. Balance and discipline is still needed with the Page of Cups because the page is youthful, inventive. It's all about me. The world is my oyster. I can do anything that I want. The fish that's coming out of the cup, it's like, what the heck is that fish doing jumping out of a cup? It's a representation of new ideas, new projects, new dreams, new desires. Sky is the limit. It's a new idea that could grow to be have positive fruition. It can represent the announcement of an engagement, a birth, or the reception of a psychic message of great importance. So the Page of Cups is a messenger, and sometimes it will represent like, hey, somebody's trying to get a hold of you from the other side. When it does that, it's usually someone youthful or young, the loss of a child or something like that, and the child is wanting to connect with the parent. It can represent psychic messages or something that something that's trying to be told to you at this time. When we reverse it, here we go. Discipline in strong doses is needed. When the page is reversed, he's unbridled, undisciplined, and kind of like me, all over the place. And the discipline is needed in strong doses in the reverse. Can be dreamy and lost in emotion, have grave difficulty focusing, ADD, scattered thinking, difficulty concentrating on, difficulty connecting things together. This again, you guys, is some young person that you have sitting in front of you and their foot is doing this. You know, they've just got all this energy that they're trying to get off their chest. They can have some difficulty with social cues and boundaries. They can get lost in their dreams and fantasies, and have difficulty separating what is and isn't real. Over emotional, can be insecure and overzealous, have a tendency to take on more than can be handled. Young, just a young person. Addictions and escapism could be the downfall for any single member of the court of the suit of cups in the reversed position. Cups is all about emotions, and when it's reversed, there's that need or desire for escapism. So drugs and alcohol addiction is a strong possibility. Reversed page could be, I actually see this a lot. Young people who are living at home, who drop out of society and live as a hermit in their own parents' bedroom. This is somebody who could become homeless rather than deal with people for which they feel inferior or by whom they fear they will be judged or rejected in some fashion. I'll give you an example of a page of cups reversed. I had a client right here in Walnut Creek, and one day her 24-year-old daughter came home and said, "Mom, I'm going to be homeless. I've decided I'm going to move to Golden Gate Park. I can live on $10 a day." And did, and lived that way for 5 years. Lived homeless by choice for 5 years because it was easier. It was easier living on $10 a day than it was trying to live life and create a career and et cetera, et cetera. So that's Page of Cups reversed. They can waste time and energy and totally lacking focus, wasting their talents. Lost, dreamy souls who have grave difficulty connecting to others. Whereas in the beginning, they were all happy and joyous and super zealous and all of that. When we reverse them, it all becomes, instead of being outward, it becomes very inwardly focused. Can be to a fault. Now here we have the Knight. And knights again are the bringers of or the action of the suit. What do you notice about the Knight?
Kind of serious looking.
He does look a little serious, doesn't he? You know what? I need to get out my other deck so I can be showing you the difference in these. Here they are. I got smart, guys. I separated my suits out. Here's the page. And here's our Knight.
Is that a bird on his head? A parrot?
No, he's got, just like in this one, he's got, it almost looks like a pair of angel wings on his head.
Oh, okay. Good.
And I like the fish scales on his armor. He looks fishy.
He has like a little wave thing on the shoulder.
Yep. And I think that is actually a wave. It's like a wave. It's representing his connection to water. It's representing his connection to the element of water, the emotion, the emotional aspects. So the Knight is standing in front of this big, massive hill. He can take on anything. I don't see him, he's serious. It's like, by golly, I'm going to do it. He's also about to cross a river, it appears. So the aspect that I see around the Knight of Cups is that he's prepared to take things on. He's just prepared to take things on. He's kind. empathic, intelligent, romantic, intuitive, psychic, spiritual, humanitarian, artistic, usually gifted in music or dance. You know, the Knights are all about movement. Well, when we bring it into the essence of the cups, there's music, there's movement, there's dance, there's artistic elements that are brought on board. The Knight of Cups, though, is a lot more passive than the other knights in the other suits. He involves himself in the help and empowerment of others, those who are less fortunate, dependent, those who have special needs, the misunderstood. He can often be highly involved in spiritual pursuits, connected to psychology, philosophy, or religion. He's witty, intelligent, attractive, charming. He knows how to work it. He knows how to work a room, but not in a way that's manipulative or deceiving. He's very intuitive, very attuned to others with great intensity. He delivers his messages with precision and grace, and it's always from a place of love and understanding, and always for the purpose of betterment of all. He's very connected to animals, nature, herbs, and plants as well. I think he has another slide too. Nope. When we reverse him though, guys, he's not, the sincerity is lost. Here we have someone with great intuition and spiritual understanding, but totally lacking empathy, kindness, and understanding. This knight is the one who will utilize his sensitivities and intuitive nature and understanding of psychology to set other people up to do his bidding, or to take and deceive and corrupt them for sport. There is no empathy in the reverse. If there is understanding and empathy, it's never seen or expressed. It's all held very close to the chest. Everything becomes very inward again. He'll allow others to suffer and not lift a finger and just sit back and watch. I was watching an episode of this show called Return to Amish because my ancestry is Amish, and it's been very interesting watching that because it's like, oh, that's where that issue came from. That's why people in my family think the way they do. And this one fellow had just been absolutely overwhelmed with emotion. He reconnected and found his family for the first time in his life. He'd been adopted. And he was just overwhelmed to tears. And all of his new family that he just met, they all just sat there and stared at him. Not one person got up and patted him on the shoulder or gave him a hug or said a peep to him at all. That is a Knight of Cups reverse. Just sit and watch the emotion for sport. Knight of Cups reverse can be separatists, racists, living in a cabin up in Idaho due to his intense beliefs that he and only he is right, and his refusal to make true attempts at any societal connections. Knight of Cups reversed is unreliable, immature. He's a flatterer. He can tell you what he thinks you want to hear. He's untruthful, unwilling to face realities, responsibilities. He's a seductor and a liar. Never met one of those, have you? Okay. Okay, let me get everybody moved to the other side here. Queen of Cups. What do you see, guys? What comes to you in the Queen? I love the way she's adorned.
Very elegant.
Very elegant, very well put together.
Shells, a lot of shells. Like there's a shell behind her and there's shells in her crown.
Yes, and there's water behind her, and her clothing looks like water flowing, like on her shoulders and her arms. Everything reflects movement and waves and water. The Queen of Cups is one of the most, probably the most emotional card of the entire deck of Tarot. This is a woman who feels everything. She's so super psychically, empathically connected that she just feels everything about everyone. She's super hyper empathic and wants to help and aid and assist. Now, she's pretty good about keeping that in balance, but she actually kind of has to limit herself, may limit herself more to her home and to her family and closest friends, because if she didn't, she's likely to feel everything for everyone and be doling out, giving, and giving to the point that there's nothing left. She's so water that she gushes when she walks. She is the highest attainment of love in the minor arcana. Her essence is very similar to the Empress in the major arcana. Okay, we're doing that thing again here, just a minute. She's an excellent wife and mother, great positive leader of in general and of a family unit. She brings unbridled love and security of emotions into the world. She's the essence of empathic behavior. Water adapts to its surroundings. And what I mean by that is, if I pour water in this glass, it takes this shape. If I pour water in this plate, it takes that shape. That's what the Queen of Cups does. She adapts to every emotional situation that there is. She feels whatever is in her presence. She hurts when others hurt. She's joyous at the joy of others. She's supportive, kind, understanding, motherly, nurturing, extremely intuitive, very intuitively connected to her family and those closest to her. My mother's a good example. All I ever had to do was consider doing something, and my mother knew every detail. Delights in harmony and peace. She's devoted in love to those around her and their needs, from which she's received, by which working with, she receives great satisfaction. Although it may be her tendency to focus more on the needs of others rather than her own dreams and desires. That's one of her downfalls, is that she is so sensitive and so into being of aid and assistance to others that she has a tendency, if not careful, to forget and sacrifice her own needs. She expresses herself in creative and artistic ways through writing, poetry, music, and the arts. She'd be a great supporter of the arts and of creative pursuits of others as well. So she may not be involved, but she's going to support other people in their pursuits. I'm sorry, guys. I've got this thing's bouncing all over the place. I got to figure out how to get that to stop doing that. It's driving me nuts. She'd be a great supporter of the arts and a supporter of others as well. So like, she may not be involved personally, but she would be very supportive of people who are pursuing the arts. She's also very strongly connected to spiritual arts, the occult, psychic sensitivity, and the pursuit of spiritual gifts, psychology, philosophy, and religion. She has selfless devotion to others and extreme sensitivity, psychic or empathic. She's easily moved by the emotions and sensitivities of others and can be caught up in their aid and assistance. Her love is true, complete, devoted. Although she can find the world a bit of a difficult place, she may tend to stay close at home, surrounded by those closest to her, and avoid the empathic vulnerability of the outside world. She could tend to give too much of herself, and part of her lesson is to set boundaries and protect herself. The home of the Queen of Cups, you know how we talked about the Queen of Pentacles and how her house is like decked out and there's not a hair out of place. Everything is in perfect order. The Queen of Cups, her house would be possibly a bit cluttered, and it would be full of mementos and gifts and things from people, from her surroundings and from her past. Anything that anybody had ever given her. I mean, even the little paintings that her children did for her when they were children are probably still on the wall or on the refrigerator. She's very, very connected, closely connected to memories and nostalgia of the past. When we reverse her, she loses her strength and she becomes worried, insecure, weak, indecisive. She has sensitivity that's so overwhelming that it becomes difficult to bear. You being in her presence, it would be difficult to bear her overwhelming emotional sensitivity. She subjects herself really to victimhood, over giving for the purpose of feeling significant, but unable to reap the rewards, a bottomless pit. Nothing's ever enough, cannot be fulfilled, feeling undeserved, self-sacrificing to an extreme fault. Or the other propensity here is for her to be giving aid and assistance for the purpose of feeling in the spotlight. Look what I did. Oh, look what I did. So it's not selfless giving anymore. There's a motive. And as we're going to see in the swords, motive and your intention behind your work is very, very acutely important.
Would that be like a Munchheimer's disease?
Oh, yes. Yes. I had a woman come to me one time in San Jose. I've read for this woman for years. Well, she came with her two sons. I've read with her and I've read about her two sons. One has Asperger's and one is highly attention deficit disorder. And he was bullied to the extreme in school to the point that, oh, it was about to drive both of us crazy. And you guys, when she came to my door at my hotel in San Jose to have a reading, she brought her sons and she says, oh, by the way, this is my Asperger's and this is my ADHD. She didn't even tell me their names. She introduced them by their
Disease or their affliction.
I was floored. That's the Queen of Cups reversed. Attention, 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 attention. Wanting all the attention, and nothing is ever enough. Nothing's ever enough. They either can't receive it, won't receive it, or they receive it and they just want more and more and more and more. She could recluse herself into a world of illusion, fantasy, and escapism. Here we go. Drunky, drunky, drunky. Druggy, druggy, druggy. That's a very, very strong possibility for any of the court cards in the reverse. She's her own worst enemy, mentally and emotionally. She could seek solace in drugs or alcohol and avoids the true issues at hand, refusing to do any of the work necessary to heal her deep emotional wounds. She feels unworthy and undeserving, confused, resentful, ungrateful, bitter, fearful, does not use her psychic awareness at all, ensured of the worst case scenarios in any pursuit, which keep her in her state of emotional and mental paralysis. With the Queen and the King in the reverse position, you're going to see this pattern. It's like what was described in the book, The Little Prince, when he interviewed the drunk. Sir, why do you drink? To forget. To forget what? That I drink. It's a cycle that repeats itself and never ends. Sad. Thank God Almighty, we don't encounter these people very often. But when we do, this type of personality with the queen and the king reversed, well, any of the court cards reversed in cups, you have a potentiality of dealing with a personality disorder called borderline personality disorder. You and only you are fully and totally responsible for my joy, my peace, and my balance. And anything you do, anything you say, anything you are will never be right and will never be enough. I had a period of time where for like a year, every single person who came to me, it seemed like nearly 100%. I'll say 95% of the people who came to me were borderlines. I got very, very sensitive to borderline energy, and now I won't even take them. And I know I know how to separate them out because they won't book online. My website's always broke. My website is always causing them some sort of problem. There's always this need for attention. There's always this need. Oh, I have questions. I have questions. Well, what are the questions? Well, tell me something about myself so I know you're real. That's borderline. And when I hear it, when I feel it, I won't take them. I know most of the psychologists that I know and have worked with in the city won't take them. They're an endless well. They're often unassistable. And that's not being mean, guys. That's being self-preserving.
Terry,
Yes.
I don't know if it's appropriate to mention, but just how like in the thing it mentioned like special needs and like how people are referred to people with special needs and like this connotation that like if you get a card or someone has that, like some people say, oh, your child suffers, or oh, I'm so sorry. Sometimes that person that has that, it's not an I'm sorry. It puts a negative connotation with something that could actually be a very positive attribute. So I just think it's important to learn the wording on it. My son went to an oral surgeon for a consultation and he wrote a letter and was like, her son suffers from Down syndrome and has, plaque psoriasis. And I had to write him back very respectfully. And I just said, he doesn't suffer from Down syndrome. He is very joyous. And I said, he suffers from plaque psoriasis. And it was just like, as a professional, not even as a professional, but as a person, that negative connotation that somebody suffers just because they have something. And also, I have people that always say, oh, that's a Downs kid. And it's like, no, that doesn't define my child. He is a person with Down syndrome, or that is a person with cancer, or a person with autism. And so like, I just feel like it's important when reading to turn what is typically been promoted as a negative is actually can be super positive in a life that, and I just something to bring about because I've dealt with it for over 13 years of trying to change that narrative.
Very good point. And Judy, I had a client in Fresno that I actually did several meetings in her house and did nights with spirit. And she had a daughter with special needs. She was it was some kind of a birthing accident. They did something when she was being born and it did something with her spine. She's in a wheelchair. She has special needs. Judy, this girl loved me. Oh my God, she loved me. She lit up every time I came in. And, she was in a couple of our Night with Spirit programs, and her mother would get so embarrassed because, I watched, I could see this girl had angels around her. And she would go into this blissful state and she would light up and smile and be so filled with joy that she couldn't even contain it. And her mother would go, oh God, I wish she would stop doing that. She's so embarrassing. Well, there's the Queen of Cups reversed. And I told her, I said, sweetheart, she's in a blissful state with the angels when that happens. That is a gift to her. She deserves that. That you should be looking at that and seeing the joy that she's experiencing. You're right on, Judy. You're right on. And yes, we do need to be careful of our wording and how we address. And yes, you're right on. I didn't know that your son had Down syndrome.
Mhm.
Well, bless you, sweetheart. I believe that those people have very, very special gifts and talents, and they're special. They're special children. And
And so are the people who take care of them.
exactly my very next point. The people who are blessed with them are blessed with very, very powerful gifts and super sensitivities that I don't know the words. I don't know the words to pull it together, but it's a match made in heaven. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe that, oh, people say, oh, it's karmic. It's karmic. Well, if it's karmic, it's an operation where the family has come together and we're all working karma out together, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, oh, he did something bad in a past life. No, it can be the aspect of learning major lessons of love and slowing things down to the point of really getting it and allowing it in depth to infiltrate. I had a cousin who is Down syndrome, and God bless her. Her parents did everything. That child was given every opportunity and every chance possible, and she thrived. And she's now an old woman, and she's happy. She's joyous, and she's had phenomenal experience in this life. Yep, you're right, Judy. You're right. So, people just don't get it. Just like my client. Oh, this is my ADHD and this is my Asperger's. Wow. What are their names? So I actually had an experience with the ADHD child. He was bullied so bad in school. Somebody went into the school computer and wiped out every grade he had ever gotten from 7th grade to 12th. Completely erased his entire school history. And then when he got to college, they did it again. And the school wouldn't do anything to help. He was severely bullied. And I had an experience with him where I really validated him on his artwork. His teacher had told him that his art was an art and that nobody would be interested in it. And he showed me an example, and it was absolutely beautiful. And he asked his mother if he could have a few minutes alone with me. And when they left the room, he looked at me with these big eyes and he says, Terry, you just loved me and understood me like no one has ever loved me and understood me. So it was a beautiful experience. I sit here with tears in my eyes because it's still so moving. Just a great experience. Sorry to get off subject, but King of Cups, here I am, King of Cups. What do you guys see with the King of Cups? What do you feel with the King of Cups? We're in the feeling
Like-
suit.
Distinguished or prominent.
Yes. And he's gentle.
He seems calm.
His gentle resolve. Yeah. Calm is a good word, Myron.
Those seas behind him aren't calm.
Yeah, he's been through some stuff and he's gained from the experience. So I think what they're trying to convey is that he is, here's the writer, that despite whatever's going on around him, he's upright, stable, calm, and resolved. In actuality, just looking at the face of this card, he resembles the filmmaker who made my 2 documentaries, Anthony Shen from Avignon, France. Looks just like him.
You know what? I thought he looks kind of like Paul Newman.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? And you can't really see him, but honey, he's got some blue eyes on him. I can see them because he's big on my screen. He's got some pretty blue eyes. So, and this red stripe down here, and it's wavy. You notice how not much is really in straight lines. Everything's wavy or curvy, representing adaptability, changeability, moveableness, mobileness.
I noticed like in the Rider-Waite, I mean, and also in this, his jacket's like red and yellow, and it just reminds me of like Superman's cape.
Yep.
Like, always out there to help people,
Yep.
and he's got kryptonite, but
Yeah. And the back of his throne looks like the snout of a hammerhead shark, shaped just like it. And he's actually sitting on a concrete slab, which is actually floating in rough water, to represent again that despite the fact that the raw waters are rough, he remains stable. This dude can handle anything. That nothing gets him off balance, nothing gets him off kilter. He can handle a ton of emotion and still be understanding, patient, calm, and kind.
He's got that finger pointing again, right, to the left.
Yeah.
Future.
Yep. Which good things, good aspects in the future process. He's also, remember, kings are always the essence of attainment. So he has attained emotional resolve. There's not much that he hasn't seen. Based on the rough seas behind him, there's not much that he's not seen. He's balanced and stable, possessing a great deep understanding of the spiritual and psychological meaning of life. He's gentle, understanding, and supportive. Extreme sincerity and dedication is applied to anything he pursues. Works for causes that are deep and have great overall effect on the good of the whole. His areas of focus could be psychology, counseling, religious or spiritual leadership, or education. Excellence in business,
Okay, I found this on the web for is the focus could be psychology, counseling, religious.
Sorry, my little Irish guy just went off. Areas of focus could be psychology, counseling, religious, spiritual leadership, or education. He's excellent in business and he masters intuitiveness and emotional understanding and blends them together with perfection. He may play his cards close to his chest as his intuitive and spiritual understanding are greatly intense. Getting to know him allows understanding of the depth of his understanding, kindness, and involvement to positive resolve. This is somebody who's extremely deep, and you're not going to get all of him in one sitting. He's responsible, balanced, kind, and caring, well-loved and adored, with great respect and adoration. He takes it all in stride and gives back abundantly. The loving father figure, the resolver of problems, the grounded, secure, and sincere father essence. That is the King of Cups. Yes, please, I'll take one.
Right?
Now, when we reverse him, he is emotionally immature. With little to no, that's no, N-O instead of K-N-O-W, understanding of himself or others. He could be false or fake, playing a role he thinks others feel he should play. But there's no depth or sincerity. He can be defensive, overly sensitive, prone to bursts of anger and frustration, and perhaps even temper tantrums, having given his faith and hope to senseless illusions and fantasies. So expecting something to be here, and what it ends up coming out here, he loses it. Very easily prone to addictions to drugs or alcohol as a source of emotional resolve. As we go up the rank of the court cards, you guys, the propensity for addiction issues becomes higher. He's unreliable, unfaithful, untrustworthy, unkind, a manipulator, false, most likely suffering from deep-seated emotional wounds and scars. He's weak and ineffective, which only causes him deeper frustration and more tense emotional wounding. He's that cycle of negative emotions. Sir, why do you drink? To forget? To forget what? That I drink? Unable to get off the hamster wheel, the denial and refusal to see truth, gain understanding, most likely an unteachable spirit, someone who's not going to learn.
I was just gonna say, one of those people who don't want to learn, right? Just, it's easier for them to be the victim.
Right, right. Another attribute that I didn't put down here, but I think is probably really important, is he's not loyal, but you bet your bottom dollar he's going to demand loyalty out of everybody around him. And when he doesn't get it, boy, will you suffer. So there's vindictiveness and going after people. Huh, who do we know like that?
No one.
So that's the King of Cups and the King of Cups reversed. Okay, I think that's the last slide on him.
Hey, Terry,
Yeah,
if you look at the top right-hand corner of your screen under view, if you click the side-by-side gallery view, would that help to move our profiles to the right? Because that's what I'm doing, and then so we see your screen, your slides to the left, but then the picture is our profiles are to the right.
that's where I've got you. I've got you in my upper right-hand corner.
But if you click the different views on Zoom, I guess there's a standard, a side-by-side speaker, and a side-by-side gallery. If you click the side-by-side gallery, would that help to move our in other words, I think it separates the slide from the our our profiles.
I'm looking and I don't see a side-by-side gallery,
Gallery?
but I've got you all in now you're in a cluster and you sit at the upper right-hand corner of my screen, which is
Oh, okay.
little
Okay.
but thank you. I'll keep working on it. Okay, conducting readings. Guess what? The moment has arrived. Drum roll. We are now going to learn the most popular tarot spread of all, the Celtic Cross, the 10 cards standard reading that most everybody does. This one can be used to examine one or multiple factors. And you know how you did the 6-card spread and each factor lays out in its own little pile. This one you can look at multiple things all in one spread. There's multiple versions of this reading, but please stick with the version that we're learning as long as we're in class. Only one more week. Afterward, please migrate to whatever feels right for you. So here it is, guys. This is the 10-card Celtic Cross with a little bit of help from a lot of help from my class student Mena in the morning class who helped me put this slide together. The first position is in the middle of the table, and that represents the present moment. The second card on the table is laid over top of. So here's the first one. We lay it down. Here's your tarot pack. We laid the first one down. We pick up the second and turn it to lay it over top of the first one in the shape of a cross.
Does it matter which way you lay it, if you lay it left or right?
When you turn it over, you look at it, and if it falls in if you turn it over and it's upright, the top of the card goes to the left. If it falls reversed, the top of the card goes to the right. That's how you tell upright or reversed. The second position is, again, the present environmental factors. What's going on in the surroundings. The third position, this one is really an intense position. The third position is actually the first position in the reading that can actually insinuate acts in the future. There's three positions on this reading that actually refer to the future. Third at the top, sixth at the left, that's the near future, and 10th, which is the final outcome. So your future cards are 3, 6, and 10.
So they're kind of vertical even.
Yeah, 3, 6, and 10. So third position is the goal and destiny. The third position is loaded. It can be a lot of things. Goal, destiny, hopes, wishes, dreams, fears, and the person's mentality. So if they are all messed up in their thinking, it'll show up here. Because if they're messed up in their thinking, their goals are going to be messed up. Their hopes are going to be messed up, and they're probably going to be eaten up with fear. So if the third position shows up as a mentality, then I want you to kind of visualize this as a human body, okay? So this would be their mentality. This would be their heart. The first position would be their heart. What's going on in their heart? The second position would be what effect their heart has had in the world, their acts, their deeds. This fourth position is the distant past. So this is where they've come from and what they've done. The fifth position, the recent past, would be what they've recently done or what has recently been encountered. And of course, the sixth is what's projected in the near future, 6 months to a year, up to 1 year, generally 6 months, but can be 6 months, 9 months, or a year into the future. Now, this is an interesting aspect about the Celtic cross. The first position is the present. Well, the seventh position is the present position moved into the future about 1 year's time. So this one's actually showing growth from here to here in about a year. Wow, that rhymed. From here to here in about a year. And then the eighth position takes the environmental factor and moves it out about a year. So what is proposed? If they maintain the present pathway, this is what they'll be in a year. Projected. And then the ninth position shows their overall emotions, but generally, y'all, it will be their overall emotions focused on the specific question that they ask in the reading. Now, they may ask, they can ask one question, or they can ask several questions, and you'll just pull it all together from all over the spread. It just happens. I don't know how to, that's why this spread, when we get into the advanced spreads, we're going to do a little bit more work on the Celtic cross. We're going to get into a little bit deeper exploration of the Celtic cross. We'll probably do some, we will be doing some general reading work, group reading work, that will really tie this up and bring it together for everybody. And then your 10th position, of course, is your final outcome. I want to just mention, a lot of people use significators. Has anybody heard of significator before? Okay, a significator is when, like BK had said, when she used to represent herself as the Page of Cups, that's her significator. She signifies herself as the Page of Cups. One way that I do significators is when I clear the deck, I always stop at a card of something I would wish for the client. That kind of sets the stage and sets the tone for the reading. If you see your client as somebody who is a potential King of Wands, then you can actually pull the King of Wands out of the deck and set it in the upper left-hand corner, and it brings about that King of Wands energy into the reading. I don't usually use significators. I just do the bottom card of what I would wish for the client. Now, I've added to my Celtic cross, and I drop 3 cards off the bottom. 1, 2, 3, right here. And I call that the soul path. And this is what they've been born with. This is what they're currently involved with. And this is the destiny and the direction of their soul. We read them in reversed order. That's just something that I do, something I made up, and works for me. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. In all honesty, you guys, I've progressed to a point where very rarely do I do an actual full layout anymore. I do a lot more splitting of the deck and asking questions and verifying and following direct pathways. I'll just keep pulling cards, and I do the storyboard thing, and it works amazingly. But this reading, the Celtic Cross, is a very powerful reading. So I was wondering if you guys would like to try one, and we'll do one as a group.
I have a question about when you do a layout like this, do you turn all the cards over first before you do your reading, or do you read the cards as you flip them over? I guess. I don't know.
Me personally, I turn them all over. Now, there are 2 standards of thought on this, though. When I first learned Myron, cards 1 through 6 were all turned over. 7, 8, 9, and 10 were left unturned. So you dealt with the present and near future, and then did the final, what I call the final pathway. You did the final pathway last and did them individually, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay.
You can do it whatever way you want. I feel like you get more out of it if everybody's upright, because one of the ways that the Celtic Cross works is if you're in the middle of a reading and your question is about, am I going to get the house that we put a bid in on? And in the middle of that reading, there's something going on emotionally that's affecting the situation. it's going to show up over like probably in position number 9. If they ask another question, well, honey, whoever draws your attention is who you look at and who you draw on. So it's kind of a thing of, and for me, they just kind of light up. I just kind of know instinctively where I'm drawn and where I go. When I was, I'll give this as an example. I'm hoping this is a good example. When I was in holistic massage school and we were doing vibrational healing massage therapy, when we would approach the body on the table, we would examine and look. We would go up and down and look the body over. Is there a wrinkle on their blouse? Is there a tear or a snag or a small stain on their jeans? Well, if there's something that stands out, is there a ray of light coming out somewhere? Is there something that you see? What are you drawn to? That's where you start. That's where you go. And that's kind of how that I did well in that form of massage therapy, because it's very akin to how I read cards. Now, honey, that's how I read. And I'm not absolutely ingrained in tradition. So I approach it much more from the intuitive and the clairvoyant aspect. This reading this way is definitely what has helped me develop clairvoyance. So, and it requires a lot of trust and a lot of faith and just stepping out and being assured of what you're saying. So.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Any other questions on the 10-card Celtic cross? Okay.
I have one question, and that is, when we first start using this spread, should we ask people just to limit to one question, or should we go ahead and let them ask? I'm not quite sure how that works if they're asking multiple questions, I guess, is the issue.
Right. And it's going to take a little practice, BK. I think it's a good idea just to start to ask one question. But in the course of the reading, it's probable that they're going to ask other questions. So I'm hoping that we will be able to kind of address that in doing a group reading today. So, and I was going to ask BK if you were needing a reading or desiring a reading.
Yeah, I'll take a reading.
Okay. I kind of thought you might need one, honey. You, me, and Mercury, sweetheart. So before we start this spread, though, I want to take a quick break. We all get better readings with empty bladders. And what I'll do is I'll mix, I'll draw, I'll tell you the cards that we've got, and we'll all put them into position, and then we'll read them as a group. Okay? And this time, as we're going, I'll give feedback as we're going. Okay? All right, so let's take a quick break, 3 to 5 minutes, and we'll be right back. All right, so I'm going to clear the deck, and I'm going to come up with a card of something that I would wish for BK, and I just got it. Man, I landed the mother load for you, BK. I ended with the Empress.
Oh, great.
The Queen of Abundance and that essence of Christ, and third highest card of the entire deck. BK, what would you like to focus on in your reading today?
Well, can you help me decide how to, I don't know if I should just ask a general question of like, what should I do next to try and improve my life? Or should I focus on something like, I really have recently been hurting. I was talking to Victoria and said, like I've been having chronic pain. I've been having, maybe until I figure out the physical thing, it makes it impossible to do anything else. I don't know if I should just focus on that or if I should.
Well, we can focus on more than one thing. So let's focus on the pain and what comes after it. How's that?
Yeah, or just like, how can I get healthy? What do I need to do to get healthy again? Can I get healthy again? That's the question.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and mix. You tell me when to stop.
Okay, stop.
Okay. So when I mix, I am literally mentally asking BK's question. I actually say, does BK have the ability to get healthy? How can BK get healthy? What is on the other side of these health issues for BK, and what will her life be like on the other side of this? So that's how I do it. Celtic cross, I don't ask where to draw, anything like that. I pull straight off the top of the deck. So first card, position number 1, 8 of Wands. The 8 of Rods. Position number 2, environmental factors, 10 of Wands, 10 of Rods. I don't know why I always say wands, because rods is a heck of a lot easier to say. Third position, goal and destiny, hopes, wishes, dreams, mentality, fears, High Priestess.
Wow.
Fourth position, distant past, Justice. Fifth position, recent past, 2 of Rods. Sixth position, near future, 7 of Rods.
Wow.
A lot of rods, honey. You must be a writer. Seventh position, Ace of Cups. Eighth position, 3 of Swords. Ninth position, King of Cups. Final outcome, 10 of Pentacles.
May I please hear 2 and 3 again?
Please
2,
repeat them all again, please.
all of them.
Yes, please. Let me, wait, I'm gonna write them down.
Let me know when you're ready.
I am ready.
First position, 8 of Rods.
Okay,
Second position, 10 of Rods.
okay,
Third position, High Priestess. Fourth position, Justice. Fifth position, 2 of Rods. Sixth position, 7 of Rods. I'm sorry, sixth position, 7 of Rods. Seventh position, Ace of Cups. Eighth position, 3 of Swords. Ninth position, King of Cups. 10 of Pentacles in the final outcome, 10th position.
Okay,
Okay. Now I'm gonna kind of lead you guys in the beginning of this process to try to get the juices flowing and try to get it get a sense of understanding. In essence, I'm gonna let you kind of witness a little bit here. Does everybody have their cards laid out?
not yet. I'm
Still working on it.
Okay.
Yes.
You know what I did, guys, is I took my deck that I use for reading during class, and I separated, here's my major arcana rubber banded, here's my pentacles, here's my rods, here's my swords, here's my cups. So then all I have to do is go through and pull them out and put them all back in right where they belong, and they all stay in order, and that's one thing I have organized. Let me know when you're ready.
Six, seven of rods.
Hmm.
I'm done.
Okay. Okay.
I have my cards.
All right. Now, just to throw on a little extra here, guys, there's two positions on the table that I felt needed to be covered. And I didn't cover them once, I covered them a couple times. The first position that needed to be covered was the 6th position. And the cards that I covered with are the 2 of Swords, and then I covered that with the Ace of Rods. The second position that I felt needed to be covered was the 8th position. And I covered it with 3 cards. Knight of Swords, King of Swords, and then the 3 of Pentacles. And then as I did a scan of the reading, I noticed that position number 2 could use covering, and I covered it with the 9 of Cups. this. See how they look on my table? I don't know if you can. My table's a mess. I shouldn't be showing my table to anybody.
Did you say the Three of Cups is on there?
Three of Pentacles was the last card covering position 8.
Oh,
And then the Nine of Cups is covering the 10 of Wands in position number 2.
And I'm sorry to ask this, but BK, can you repeat your question?
It was about, can I get healthy and sort of like, what do I need to do to get healthy?
Okay, thank you.
There's a lot of depth in this reading. A lot of depth in this reading. Okay, so are we almost there? Do we almost have all of our cards covered?
I'm not sure I'm gonna have them all, but okay, I'm just feel like I'm going around in circle here for some reason.
Okay. So next week, try to have your reading deck separated out. Everybody's separated by suit and in order, and your major arcana all separated out and banded together in order. We're gonna need to start because we've got to
Yes.
also learn, we've also got to learn at least 6 or 8 of the swords tonight. So, okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and start, and then I want you guys to chime in as you hear, feel, see, know, sense, empath, intuit, anything at all. So the first thing I was drawn to, the question is, can I get healthy? So I look to final outcome. I'm going to go straight to the last chapter of the book, and it says the 10 of Pentacles. Hell yeah, you can get healthy.
Yes.
You can be healthy and thrive in your health and your health situation. So then I pop over to the goal and destiny in position number 3, and there's the high priestess, and that is like the grand poobah of master energies of being able to clear, and she's the lightning bolt to drive all this away. So what does that say, guys? The biggest powerful point and the most powerful thing, asset that you have, BK, is your mentality, your mind. This is your weapon. Your mind is your wand. It is your sword. Okay. I also noticed there's 2 cards from the major arcana. That sticks out. I'm hearing music somewhere. Where's it coming from? Okay. There's 2 cards in the major arcana, so those have intensity. It's in the 3rd position and in the 4th position. Justice is sitting in the 4th position. You guys, that is screaming something from a past life. It's screaming karma, justification from a past life. That 4th position can go all the way back into previous lifetimes. And I'm sitting here almost in tears, BK, because this is actually something that I see on occasion, honey, and it's very strongly connected to where you are now. As you are approaching thriving, as you are approaching greatness in your career aspects, this is rattling some karma from a previous lifetime where you were either thrown in a lake to see whether you drown or not, to see whether you're a witch. Oh, well, if you drown, you're not a witch. but you're still dead. Or were you an Aztec medicine man who did everything you could to beseech the gods and try to aid your people when they were infected with smallpox from the Spanish invasion, and all of your people died in front of you, and you died believing the gods were angry and that you had betrayed them somehow? Does that make sense? So,
Yeah.
and the key point is that you're this close to thriving. So as we get to, and whatever this was in this lifetime, whatever it was in this involvement, sweetheart, it involved expression, it involved communication, it involved leadership, it involved education, it involved leadership. I'm going to say that again. It involved communication. It involved aiding and assisting and giving instruction. It involved you being trusted and believed. And as you're putting all of that into the world now, it's jumping up and down on this nerve going, no, no, this isn't safe. This isn't safe. Remember what happened the last time? Remember what happened the last time? And there's this implosion going on where you're feeling that you don't have the right to be healthy. And
You
again,
can add or happy to that.
huh? Do what?
I said you can add or happy to that.
Well, my darling, look at your outcome. That's happiness. And you know, the way I link that together, though, you guys, the justice card in the distant past, meaning justice from a previous lifetime, or what BK spiritually, emotionally, empathically receives as, oh, this is my justice for a previous lifetime. The next position down, the fifth position, is the Two of Wands, which is saying that there's been achievement. There's been projects awarded to her. There's been achievements in the recent past. And again, that's what's knocking on that last nerve. When we look at the near future in the sixth, we've got resistance. And I ask, okay, so what's the resistance? And it's the Two of Swords, which is the card of forced choice. It's like, you're here to deal with this time. And this card is very strong and comes in and says that you just have to get really damn determined and decide what it is that you want your body to do and how it is that you want it to be and how it is that you want it to operate and to feel. To the nth degree, you have to sit it down and you have to instruct it like a child and tell it what you want, what you demand, and what you expect. And the next card that I drew on top of that one was to say, okay, if she does that, what's the result? And the result is the Ace of Wands. Unlimited opportunity, unlimited health and thriving and flourishing. And again, the universe responding to your demand, your request, and delivering. Sweetheart, you need to know something. You have the right to get all out pissed off and speak to the universe with some flowery speech and some really strong, heavy-duty, intense language. Years ago, when you started being able to Google me as San Francisco's best in 2011, well, the building sold here and they raised my rent $500 a month. San Francisco's best couldn't pay his flipping rent. That is not an acceptable outcome. Honey, I went off. Me and God, me and the universe had a conversation, and I said, look, if you want me doing your work, I don't want to be focused on money. I can't focus on money and do this work. And I made a demand of what I wanted to make a year. Hit it within $2,000 that year. So I also covered, the present position is the Eight of Wands. This has the ability to be brought to completion. The surrounding aspects, look, BK is in a battle for her flipping life right now. And she walks around every day feeling like she's carrying these 10 damn rods that she can't keep organized. And it's get this in order and this goes out of order. Get this in order and these three things go out of order, right, BK?
Yeah, that was actually the way I was feeling when I was trying to come up with being able to precisely articulate the question. That's exactly how it feels.
Uh-huh. So see, the cards tell you all kinds of detail. Now notice, guys, I'm not reading these in order, am I?
Mm-mm.
I'm kind of bouncing all over the place. It's a storyboard thing. They just come to life. Now, I've put two cards down here and I've moved something out of place. What was the card covering the 10 of Wands in the position number 2?
The Nine of Cups.
9 of Cups. There's your outcome. Fulfillment, joy, and happiness.
Yep.
So, honey, that's coming to encourage you that it's your right. Oh, shit. This is also coming up, BK. There's another lifetime aspect on this, honey, and this is very common. I believe also there may have been lifetimes of religious service. The lifetime that we're talking about, where there was this sense of failure and upset, may have even been a religious life. I'm getting a tingle on. And if you were in religious service, you've taken vows of poverty, chastity, humility, and obedience. Those vows need to be broken because you're still working underneath there. So you simply say, Spirit, God, universe, I beseech you to aid me in cutting all the cords to any previous lifetimes, any previous vows, oaths, and creeds. Cut the cords, remove them from my energy, and set me free. This lifetime, any other previous lifetime, set me free. And it's done. I was very strongly connected to the vow of poverty, honey. And when I broke it, my income increased by $61,000 in 1 year. So there's something going on in your mind and in your subconscious and in your heart that says you don't have the right to be healthy or happy. Now, look at the emotions, the position of the emotions, position number 9. The King of Cups. There's an action. There's an action in that. It's the emotions. It's telling us how BK should be treating BK. How should she be treating herself?
So does anybody else have static coming through, or is it just my computer?
There's
I hear it too.
going on. I don't know where it's coming from. What does the King of Cups in the position of the emotions instruct? Because he is a court card, we draw attention there, and he's an action figure. We want to embody him in our emotions. We want to embody his essence in our emotions. If we can emulate that in our emotions, we will achieve 10 of Pentacles. Ooh, girl, I'm on fire, BK. Here's what's available to you within a year.
What is that? I can't see.
Ace of Cups. Here's the fear and what's in the here. This is a fear that's actually coming up in the near future. And this is the fear of not having the right to be healthy. This is the fear of this progressing and getting worse. And it's in the near future surrounding aspects. But we drew the Knight of Swords over top of that. That is like fight like hell. And honey, there's a lot of mental stuff that's going to have to be done around this. A lot of mental work that's going to have to be done around this. A lot of just pure will. That's the King of Swords comes in there. King of Swords comes in to clear the pathway. And when the pathway's cleared, near future surroundings, we draw in masterpiece. Okay, I'm gonna get off my soapbox. Does that make a hill of beans sense to anybody what I just did?
Yeah, I thought that was really good.
Huh. Okay. Victoria, honey, what's going on with you, sweetheart? What are you picking up? What are you feeling? Did you get it? Are you lost?
Yeah, I felt like I did get it, and I really liked how you clarified that the justice in the distant past influence. That made a lot of sense to me. That it's kind of a karmic thing. I guess I tend to read things in emotional journeys. So the way I was, yeah, the way I was kind of initially looking at it was present position being 8 of Wands is like really wanting a solution for this as quickly as possible. And 10 of Wands clarifying that would of course be like, what a burden it feels like right now. And 9 of Cups covering 10 of Wands is, wanting that wish to be fulfilled, to just feel better.
And actually attaining the fulfillment.
Right, exactly, yeah. And the fact that it hasn't happened yet is just such a burden with the 10 of Wands. So yeah, I mean, I guess I won't go through the whole thing, but that's.
I see something else, guys. This is another thing to pay attention to in your Celtic cross spreads. Okay, look at position number 3. You've got the High Priestess. Now drop down from position number 3 and go to position number 5. That is an opposing or countering card. So the fact that in the recent past, position number 5, there have been recent achievements and propositions, proposals, projects, involvements that have been presented. It has kicked up that High Priestess energy, and she's like, okay, this is your destiny. This is the direction that you're supposed to be going. So we're going to clear all this crap out of your way so that you are effective, so that you are achieving.
Can I?
Yes.
Something that just kind of, let's see. Yeah, something that just kind of popped out to me. If you said this, I didn't catch it, so sorry if I'm repeating something, but I'm kind of getting the sense that maybe from this 3 of Swords in the 8th position, clarified by, I believe it was Knight of Swords, King of Swords, and 3 of Pentacles, if that's correct. Okay,
That's right.
so I'm getting the feeling that this is actually something BK was mentioning too, and I hopefully it doesn't continue to be a theme, but I wonder if it might be, where the Knight of Swords and King of Swords are representing medical professionals who aren't really listening to you enough. They're just steely, and there's frustration over the collaborations that are going on. They're not listening.
Girl, you need to go in there and clean house. You got to go in there and make yourself heard. You got to go in there, and if you need to, you got to throw a fit to make yourself heard.
Yeah,
my darling, that is your King of Cups and the emotions, right, guys? She's taking care of herself. She's loving herself. She's nurturing herself. She's all understanding of the self. Absolutely flippin' fantastic, Victoria.
I wish it weren't frustrating for you, BK. But
Honey, I'm gonna tell you, you go in there and go off, and you're gonna feel a hell of a lot better.
And I wonder if maybe finding alternative solutions, possibly, that they're things that they're not necessarily recommending. I'm not saying like anything crazy, but maybe there are other options that are not within kind of their rigid paradigm of protocols, like you were mentioning, that actually would end up being helpful. Yeah.
Well, we've got swords, Knight and King of Swords. When you mentioned alternatives, honey, first thing that hit me was acupuncture. I drew on it. I got the Queen of Swords. She's also that energy of clearing away. And also, we've got swords coming up. Poke, 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 acupuncture. And the result, when I covered it and asked for the result of acupuncture, Chariot, the most mobile card of the deck.
Can we ask about intermittent fasting too? Because that came into my mind and I looked it up really quickly, and it is supposedly associated with reduction of inflammation. So I wonder if that.
I do that already.
Oh, okay.
But I will say I haven't been doing as well with the diet and stuff that I was. I was doing the IF pretty strictly, and I wasn't drinking any alcohol, and the pain got so bad I was hitting the hooch, which I don't need to do. And then I was hitting the green only once. It's not my thing, but it's like I was doing whatever I could to try and stop the pain.
Totally. Okay. Well, acupuncture it is then, I guess.
I looked at the fasting and she said she's already doing it. I got Tower of Destruction.
Oh.
The end result on it was positive, but I think there's that coming up. I think there's the possibility that BK is struggling with having to sacrifice anything else in a position of feeling already crappy.
Makes sense. Interesting.
And which card came up when you covered the tower?
The Hierophant. And honey, when you mentioned green, I need to tell you that I was very strongly drawn to the King of Cups in the 9th position, saying that's not out of balance. That's a form of self-love, and you didn't do it with negative intention. You're not trying to escape. You're simply trying to heal yourself. So that's not out of the bounds. That's not out of the realm, and it's okay.
Okay. It's probably better than hitting the hooch, but.
I think so, because the hooch is full of sugar and sugar breeds inflammation. Myron, Judy, Marilyn, anybody got something to say?
I'm completely lost. Sorry. I'm just not having, I'm just not having a moment, so.
That's all right, honey. This is an intense read.
When I first looked at the cards, I read the first card, the 8 of Wands, as sort of this question about it being up in the air, kind of. And then the second card is showing the hard work that she needs to put in, but if she does that hard work, it would be a fulfillment with the 9 of Cups.
Right. But in order for her to do the hard work, she needs to see the promise at the end of the line that it is possible.
Correct.
And in doing so, be as loving and kind and gentle to the self.
Like the King of Cups.
Mm-hmm. And Victoria, you nailed it. You nailed it, honey. I am so pleased and so impressed. You nailed it on that aspect of the near future and needing to go in there and literally make yourself heard. Let me give you a quick example. I have a torn rotator cuff in my shoulder. I went to my pain management doctor and I said, I've got this stenosis in my spine and I'm starting to feel things in my neck. And I need an MRI. So they did an MRI of my back, my lower spine, and an MRI of my neck. I says, oh, and my shoulder is wounded. And my doctor went, no, just the neck. Well, girl, I'm diabetic. I've got torn rotator cuff. And in the time that it took for me to finally get somebody to listen to me, my shoulder froze. Now, if I can't get my shoulder unfroze, they're going to break it. Oh, girl, did I
Don't let them do surgery on your shoulder.
No, I won't. I won't. And they're wanting to cut my back too, and I won't let them cut my back either. So make yourself heard. Judy, Judy, Judy. What you got going on, honey?
I kind of like Myron, I took that first position with the 8 of rods that BK almost has so many different options and choices that it's almost overwhelming to decide which route to go, because everybody has different opinions and they all sound interesting. They all sound like options. And so I take that as the second position, that it's really overwhelming. And it's almost like kind of covering your head, like, I can't make that choice because there's so many. And I kind of am drawn down to the 5th position. And to me, it speaks that medical professionals are trying to push you in certain ways. But you're having other people, and then it draws me back up to the cover with the 9 of Cups, that you're going to make a choice based on the High Priestess, that you're just going to kind of have a moment of clarity where one in particular is going to speak to you, and it's going to be like, this actually makes sense to me. And then I go over to the 6th position with the projection near future, kind of goes into that when you're on your journey of leaning into this choice, that you go with the blind faith that goes to that cover, that you're gonna just have to surrender yourself to it and stop fighting yourself on the decision that you've made, because you're gonna keep second guessing yourself. So you're just gonna have to put the blinders over your eyes and it's gonna be a challenge. It's gonna be hard. You're not gonna really feel confident that you're doing it right, but you're gonna have to surrender yourself, because you're gonna have to trust in your belief in the decision that you made because of your High Priestess. And when you surrender into that, you will have success, and you're going to have affirmations all around you, like vision, like the signs that come up with the Ace of Rods, that'll be like, you're going to get confirmation. You're going to see little differences, and maybe not other people see it, but you're going to feel it internally, and you're going to know you're on the right path. And then I was drawn over to the Ace of Cups, where it kind of follows suit with that Ace of Rods, that you're going to start really feeling a difference within like a year. You're going to really, really kind of bring it in, because you've really surrendered to seeing completion. Because a lot of times it's like you start something and then it's not fast enough result, and you're kind of like, well, I'm going to try something else, or I'm going to go to the hooch. Or so you're not giving yourself that opportunity and that time that it takes. Just kind of like they say, it takes 2 weeks to start changing a habit, and then it takes, that mental gap, but you're trying to change over long-term habits and long-term pain, that it's not a quick fix. It took a long time to get this bad, so it's going to take a long time to get that transition. And then I see, like with the 8th position, just like Victoria was saying, that there's going to be a conflict, because there's going to be some influence that people are going to start weighing in, like, oh yeah, I see these differences. Oh, you should do this, or you should do that. And you're going to have to be strong and firm and keep going on that hard route that you've originally connected to and surrendered yourself to. And then you're going to come through with that King of Cups and follow through with your 10 of Pentacles. I don't know. I can't just do one card. It kind of, like you say, it's like a story and a journey.
Mm-hmm. And this one's an intense reading. and it has literally bounced all over the table. Marilyn, don't feel bad and don't feel confused.
Yeah, I just can't put it together. I just
But
can't.
um, is hip or joint replacement an option?
I've already had both hips and both knees replaced. They're not going to replace anything else on me, is my guess. They will make jokes about it. Like they'll say, like, do you want a shoulder? They pretty much, I don't think they think there's anything else they can do for me.
Where's the pain, honey?
When I've been having pain recently, I'm going to say, like my knees and hips are okay because they've been replaced. My big problem is because I'm not moving around enough, my ankles are swelling. And once they swell, then I can't move around. I mean, I can, but it hurts so much, I'm not going to get up and walk around. So sometimes it's my hands, they're swelling. Sometimes it's my feet or ankles. Recently, it's been my neck. And I think that's from staring too much at my phone. I really think it's just that I'm not exercising enough because I sat in a wheelchair for a few years, and then sometimes I eat or drink something that affects the inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just need to move around more.
Okay, okay, on that statement, I'm doing a yes/no spread. Yes, levers. And my darling, the levers not only says for you to move around, but my darling, instill in someone the negotiation that they will do it with you once or twice a week. Whether it's one person, two people, five people, you make dates. Now we can get out and about. You make dates with people and stick to them, where I don't care if you walk to the end of the block and back. Ankles are the joint that connect our feet to our legs, and those move us forward. They are the flexibility in moving us forward in life. Your hands is directly connected to your work. That's why I say, oh, something about the work opportunities is bouncing up and down on this nerve. Oh God, what if I do become famous? There was something else that's sticking to me, honey, is there was one of the readings that you did where it was about taking possession of something that you worked on in a collaboration with someone else. And when he passed away, someone else got it and didn't give it to you. And I meant to say to you, and I don't think I did, that you need to claim that.
Okay. And I haven't done that yet, interestingly. And I sent that guy something else and did not send my claim for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll do that this week.
So I did do a yes/no question for you besides this spread, and I did get the Five of Pentacles, which is I believe, like Victoria says, look for the help, and Judy, look for the proper help. See what's around you. Find the program and or the doctor that you need. There's help around you for this, is what I'm pulling.
Don't get so emotionally overwhelmed by the process that you can't see the open door of opportunity right in front of you.
So this I could do for you. This I could.
This is all helpful, so thanks. I think, like, when I'm listening to alternative medicines or look for the help, I think I've done it. I've done everything. I've tried crazy stuff.
I think there's something more basic for you.
Okay. I'll look for it. I was going to say, I think at that point, because I've done so many things, I've given up. So it's like you're saying, open your eyes again and look around and see what.
And yeah, and I think it's really basic. I mean,
Actually,
it's basic.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Before you were saying, BK, that you feel like you've tried everything, one of the things that I just really, really wanted to say to you, I feel like, is that this reading overall, the strong message I'm getting from it is just keep going. It's not going to feel easy, honestly, in the middle, but keep going, because you are going to reach that 10 of Pentacles. You are going to reach that 10 of Cups or King of Cups, and the High Priestess will be guiding you, and just keep going.
And I do think I think everything everyone said is right. And I do think it is probably something basic at this point.
Yeah.
Just decide what I want. And I know one way I can get there is getting up, either getting on my treadmill or getting outside or going to the grocery store with a grocery cart and moving around. And I'll get stronger. And the more I do that, I think the less inflammation I'll have. But a lot of it isn't the physical, it's in my brain now. That's why I started out with a question of like, can I even get better? You know, that's what has to break.
Well, now look at this, guys, what she just said. It's in her brain. Where's the brain? It's the position of the mentality. Position number 3. Where is the highest, most powerful, influential card of the entire deck in this reading? High Priestess in the third.
In the mental.
See how it just comes to life?
Yeah, and I think it's so significant that BK is feeling so strongly. Like there's clearly an intuition that if I exercise more, that'll help. It just seems like, yeah, you seem like you're on the right track there.
Honey, I don't want to discourage you, but I do have a funny sense that walking outside or even around your apartment is probably better than getting on a treadmill, because if you need a break, you got to hit a button and you got to wait for that thing to slow down.
Okay.
And one thing I want to add, when Terry says to go outside, put your feet on the ground, kind of feel the energy from the earth into your ankles.
Okay.
Take your shoes off and feel your little footies in the grass, girl. Let the grass tickle your feet.
The energy from the earth will help heal.
Yeah. And my darling, when you take a shower or a bath, I want you to have an intimate experience with every part of your body, every finger, every toe, every leg, and I just want you to love it and honor it and adore it for who it is and what it is. And I'm also going to tell you to add a cup of sea salt to your bath water.
Okay, I haven't been able to get into a bathtub since 2013.
Then
So-
put a washcloth over the drain in your shower and stand in it.
Okay.
And then when you talk to your body, also give it gratitude.
Yes. And
Okay,
tell it what you want it to do.
Okay.
And as an acupuncturist, let me recommend Timothy Asher. It's in the Castro, used to be in my office. Honey, I'd never had acupuncture before. I was having issues with my blood sugar. I didn't say anything. I tested my blood glucose, got a reading, went in, laid on a table for 20 minutes, got stuck like a pincushion, got up 20 minutes later, walked back to my office, took my blood sugar, and it had dropped 60 points.
Wow.
That is what it takes my medication 12 hours to do. And he did it in 20 minutes. So, and when I started having issues with the pinched nerves, I went to him for the pain management, and I got off the table completely out of pain. But by the time it took me to walk from his office to my office, I literally had a dizzy spell. Oh, I had to grab a hold of the wall. I thought I was going to fall out in the Holy Spirit, honey. And the pain came back. And I don't know why. The other thing that came to me on the Ace of Cups, this is an old Pentecostal phrase when I was all caught up in the church between 14 and 17 and a half. They used to say, when you're doing the devil's work, the devil has no need for you. But when you're doing the work of the light of God, the devil going to be all up in your face. And that speaks to that past life. Sweetheart, I swear to God, this past life is a lifetime of religious service.
I had a past life reading and somebody told me something like that once. So it was interesting that that came up.
I don't, you might have been one of them people that sat there and wrote Bible pages. How many pages did you do today? One. With all that fancy script and drawing and all that. I don't know what you did, but whatever you did, honey, you were highly judged. You were highly unconventional, and there was a sense of failure and disobedience in that. And you've come in here in this life with that, and it's what's causing the pain.
Okay, well, thanks everyone. It was really cool.
Intense. So we're going to do more of this. We're going to do another one next week. And I'm going to let you guys start it next week. Next week, I think we should let Marilyn start. And Marilyn, honey, you go in order. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, y'all think of a question that I can handle.
And this one was intense because, oh man, stuff just started flying around the room. But anyway.
I just didn't understand how you got past life. Was that intuitive?
The past life thing, honey, came because justice fell in the 4th position, which is distant past. That distant past can go all the way back to the moment your soul was created. It doesn't have to stay in this lifetime. It can. Now, honey, as we're talking, this is another one of my weirdities. As we're talking, I have a female robin standing right outside my door, staring me in the face. So we need to look up, we need to Google what robin totem medicine is. I'll do that here in just a second, and we'll see what the message is, because it's an oddity or a peculiarity that's occurring in nature right before our eyes, and there's a message in it. Animals, birds, insects, they all have a meaning. So bear with me just a minute, guys, and if I can get this thing to do what I need it to do, which I'm not getting it to do. Let me do it on my phone. There's more than one way to skin a cat. So what I'm typing in is robin totem medicine. This is from the Native American tradition. Robin indicates the arrival of spring. It also indicates a new beginning and planting of new seeds for fresh harvest. Since robin is your totem animal, you are perfectly happy to remain in the background. However, your personality is such that you always get noticed. There's more in there than that.
The next part says, robin totem indicates you have strong willpower and ensures that you are bound to succeed, which I think was kind of the overarching thing in the reading.
And it was verified by nature, by spirit, that you will be successful.
Yes.
The new beginning.
And BK, honey, if you want to stay after class tonight, and anybody's welcome to stay as well, I would like to do an exercise with you to help you holistically release pain. Pain is a demand for attention. So what I would do with you is just a visualization, and we'll ask you to visualize it, to describe it, to tell us how big it is, what shape it is, what color it is, what does it smell like, what does it taste like. Breathe in underneath it, blow it out. Okay, now look at it. And what happens, honey, is it goes.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can do that on your own anytime.
Can I add in one more thing? Sorry, because the next paragraph.
No, don't apologize.
Thank you. The next paragraph on this is just so on point with what you said. You might find doubts plaguing you from time to time. Am I good enough? You said in the past life being judged harshly, like, wow. But the Robin totem is asking you to shift from that place and know that you are on the road to harmony and joy. New life is coming to you. The judged harshly, that's exactly it.
Mhm.
Wild.
You can't make this shit up.
You can't.
Oh,
You guys have just witnessed you've all witnessed and been a very integral part of a very powerful experience. So, yay. I'm sitting here with tears in my eyes. I'm all moved and emotional. We got to get through some of these swords or we're going to have a hell of a lot of work to do next week. So I would love to just stay right where we are and dealing with this, because this is a big part about being a reader. It's about being flexible, and it's about being aware of everything around you: the sounds, the smells, the tastes, the hearing, the feeling, the seeing, the empathing, the knowing, shit just popping into your mind out of nowhere, past experiences, thoughts. It's you literally expand your perception this wide and you're catching everything instead of this. That's how it works. Okay. Boy, did y'all see how energized I got during that process? It's amazing. Thank you, BK. And honey, you have all of our love and all of our support. And there are 6 of us now pinging the universe on your behalf.
Well, thank you, everyone.
So you deserve it, girl. And you are loved. The other thing about that King of Cups and those Ace of Cups down here, sweetheart, not only do I want you to focus on health and healing, I also want you to consider cracking the door and allowing love back in your life again. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Woohoo! Victory. Now, Ace of Swords. Who sees what in the Ace of Swords?
Right away, can I just jump in?
Yes.
Like, it just screamed at me. The red and the white screams love and mercy. The red for love, and like the little buds all over it is just sprouting like amazing explosions of excitement and awesome bounty. And then like the palm fronds, I see like sharp edges that people can be cruel and mean. So you're going to have mercy. Like, I just see that as mercy in times of harshness.
Mm-hmm. This, I actually, in my study, this is actually olive, a branch off of an olive tree. And it's
Peace offering.
It's blooming, and it is. This is peace, and palms are given as a sign of victory. So it's victory and peace. And the crown here says that you're achieving. Achievement is at hand, may not be fully visible at this time.
and because of the hand is closed, does that mean you have to work a little bit for it?
You got to work for it. Yeah.
You know what's unusual on this one too is the clouds are gray and this unusual yellowish brown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I call that a California wildfire cloud. When the sky turns orange. Yeah. So it may look ominous. This is a good card following the reading that we just did and the situation that we just talked about, because, oh, God, I mean, you've got all these, look at how jagged the mountains are. You're going to be dragged across those. That's going to hurt. But this is up here floating in the sky saying, hey, it may not be fully clear to you now, but victory and a sense of peace is on the way, and you will achieve the greatness that you seek.
So is this a summer card?
I forget which season Swords is. It's on the
Oh.
sheet.
It's fall.
Fall.
The fall. Because
Yes, fall, because it's an ending of a cycle and the beginning of a new. Yeah, it's autumn, so it's an ending of a cycle, beginning of a new. Okay. The Ace of Swords is the highest card of clearing and release. It is very much focused on clearing obstacles and achieving victory over obstacles that have held one back. It is power, strength, intense release, clearing, healing, overcoming anything that has held one back. Release of illusions and fantasies, bearer of absolute truth, being the suit of the mind, mental determination and centered focus is required to achieve victory. Willpower, mind over matter, pure force and determination. Didn't this card fall as a covering card? No, it was the King of Swords, wasn't it? The mountains equal obstacles that need to be dealt with. The crown is the promise that issues are being resolved. Discipline, self-management, brutal honesty, and the self and others. The palm and the olive branches represent justice, honor, and integrity in the pursuit of and the attainment of victory. Okay, now y'all moved on me again. I gotta move you over here. Okay. When we reverse it, the negative aspects appear when we reverse the Ace of Swords, because it literally looks like that sword is going jammed right down into the ground. It could be feelings of victimization, feeling bullied, pressured, or forced into a box. It's a loss of power and a loss of drive. It could be self-imposed limitations and the creator of one's own destruction. Loss of sense of self, loss of sense of power, hopeless, lack of motivation, nothing gets achieved. Moving in a wrong direction, refusal to heal, refusal to learn, refusal to grow. Everyone else is at fault. Emotionally unstable, could be angry, frustrated, and fearful to the point of violence or extreme something. Imption. Don't know what the word is there.
I think that's emotion.
Emotion, yes. Violence or extreme emotion, which is perceived as threatening to the outside world. Self-destructive and paralysis. So when like that, not recognizing that word emotion, when we went into the reading with BK, it's almost like I go up here, you guys. And then when I go and shift gears and try to go into this, it is a big adjustment for me to drop down into the physical again and to put my focus here. Just warning you.
Can I ask you a question about that actually? Like when you do a reading, do you book time in like 20 minutes to kind of recuperate or to refocus yourself before you?
I do not, and it has burned me out. So thank you for verifying to me that that's what I need to do. Now, readings have been coming, and they've been coming in a way that there has been a block of time, and it has been so helpful. So as a recommendation to myself and to you all, put time in between. Thank you.
sometimes readers read for like 30, 25 minutes and or 55 minutes or 50 minutes. And then they book every hour or every half hour. So they have that time.
Go on a clinical hour. I've actually considered that as well. Yeah, psychologists do it. And you need to shift gears. When I go and do the show in Ohio, I will see in the course of 2 days, 10-hour days each, I'll see 30, 40 people. and it's literally one after another, and they have to slide a hot dog across the table for me to have something to eat. So I'm the only reader there that can eat a hot dog and do a reading at the same time. I can do anything and eat. So, Two of Swords. The Two of Swords is the card of, I call it the card of forced choice. There's definitely a change trying to take place because we've got an eclipsed moon going on there. And I just realized I need to be showing these. There's the ace, pretty much the same. Here's the two, pretty much the same. All that emotion behind her, all that jagged rock, ouch. What do y'all think's going on? What's the blindfold? What's this position? What's that representing?
A self-imposed blockage.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to feel. I don't want to see. I don't want to.
I don't want to know.
I don't want to talk.
I don't want to talk. I don't want to know. I don't want to feel. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to look at it. Leave me alone. Shut up. I'm closing down. I'm shutting off.
When I see this card, I think of being between a rock and a hard place.
Yes, Myron, it is. And it is so overwhelming that she has shut down. That's why I call it the card of forced choice, because you ain't moving. You ain't moving. You're not making no decisions. You're refusing to look at it. So guess what? We're going to let it build and build and build and build until you got to do something about it. We just nailed that one in a heartbeat. Oops, sorry. Oops. What the heck is going on here? Jumping through these cards. I call it the card of forced choice. A choice or decision is presented, but it's so emotional in nature that it creates a sense of overwhelm and avoidance. The decision will eventually have to be made, but for the time being, the questioner may opt out, shut down, reset, refuse to look at the situation. The situation will grow until action will have to be taken. Current energies may be a little to no action at all, but eventually clarity and resolve will be achieved. Being between a rock and a hard place, Myron. You see, the issue is emotional because all the water and jagged rock in the background, which she does not face, blindfolded and shut down with her arms covering her heart, refusing to feel.
Can this also be a card of where maybe you need to take a little bit of time out before you make a decision because, you know, it's so emotional and so hard, but maybe you just need to let it go for a little bit?
That's coming up in the 4.
Okay.
But 2 is half of 4. So if you go by the even cards, yeah, this is okay for a while, but if it continues to go, like if BK just decided she just wasn't going to deal with this and she'd end up paralyzed, not able to move. So it might be okay for a moment, but not for a long period of time.
Because eventually a decision needs to be made.
Yes. Eventually the decision will be made, whether it's made by the questioner or not. Circumstances has the potential to make the decision for.
I mean, on a light basis, it's like, should I extend my warranty on the car or not? And then the time elapses and then you can't, and then something goes bad with the car.
That's right. Here's another example. I was questioning whether I should continue to have an office in San Francisco. And I opted in because I knew they needed my money. COVID hit and I couldn't go back when they wanted to reopen the office because I'm diabetic. And all of a sudden I become this nasty, horrible, selfish person and get your shit and get out. Well, Boom, there's the decision. It's been made for me, and it's been made clearly and shown me everything in the background that I really needed to see all along. Because if I'd have tuned in and realized that it was really all about my money in the first place, I wouldn't have renewed in December. Perfect example of Two of Swords. So the decision's been made when it's in the reverse. The questioner, or it's been made by the questioner, or perhaps it's been made by circumstance, forced choice. Avoidance may have allowed for a shift in direction for which the questioner took little to no action. It's important to look at the cards closest to and in the positions of environment and future outcomes to see if the movement will be for the better or additional actions may be needed to gain benefit. So, okay, the choice has been made. Now we need to look at, we need to look at the environment. We need to look at the near future. We need to look at the final outcome, the advanced future, the 7th and 8th. What's happening there? Has this actually been resolved, or is there more that needs to be taken on? Three. Okay, who wants to take a stab at what that means?
I don't know. Heartache.
Heartache. Heartbreak.
Heartbreak.
Frustration.
Frustration.
Yeah.
Sadness, loss. I'm hearing music again. Three of Swords is one of the most impactful cards of the entire deck. It's a card of heartbreak, loss, and sacrifice. Something's lost that's very painful and emotional in nature. And there's little or most likely nothing that can be done to save the situation. Divorce, breakup, ending of a cycle, the death of a person, the loss of material items, broken contracts, lost opportunities, loss of job. Unexpected endings, but the cutting away is necessary for growth. Yeah, I lost my office in San Francisco, and poof, overnight, I'm global. And I'm saving money. Releasing the old to make room for the new. The glowing light in the background is a promise this ending is for the best and will bear positive fruit. This card can also represent health issues, especially around the heart and lungs. And for some reason, usually around parents. Heart, lungs, stroke energy. It can also, as a health issue, being a sword, it can represent surgery or medical procedure. Hurtful, but for the best. The Three of Swords is very interesting because when you reverse it, it's very similar to its upright. There's not that much change. It's very similar in meaning to the upright, but what's different is that the suffering is less intense and the promise for the future reward may be more evident. Three of Swords is a card that you probably want to cover in either direction. The hurt and pain may be less intense, and this may be the ending of a cycle that has repeated over and over again. A breakup with reconciliation, then a breakup with reconciliation, and on and on and on and on. Rewards are much more evident. If falling for health issues, surgeries, or medical procedures, the seriousness is much less than in the upright or originally thought it would be.
So is that the sun behind it in this picture?
You can see it that way because it's a promise that happy days will be restored, that good things are on the way.
Okay.
Yeah. Honey, if you see it as the sun, it's the sun. And it's interesting that you bring that up because it does look like the sun. and it is a promise of happier days ahead. Here's that Four of Swords you've been waiting on, Marilyn.
Yes.
Four of Swords is the card of rest and recuperation. And it can literally represent the aspects of healing after surgery or medical procedure. It's an autumn card because autumn's a period where nature resets itself, goes dormant, goes into hibernation. It's the card of rest and recovery. The knight's in need of rest and recovery from battle and all the hard work he's put in. Now there's a need for physical, emotional, and mental recovery. Need for a time out, meditation, prayer, reset of one's intentions. Clarity's needed for restoration. If falling near or around travel cards, Chariot, Six of Swords, Eight of Wands, or the Fool, it can represent taking a vacation to recoup and to recover. Now, just a moment. The Eight of Wands was the first card in BK's reading, and it's a card of movement. BK thinks that walking and getting around and exercising will help her. I think she's right, based on the Eight of Wands being a movement card and falling in her present position. Previous victories are clear, and that's represented by the Three Swords hanging in the background. But this is a situation that needs to be temporarily put aside to gain the strength to take on the final battle, to bring an issue to resolve. Failure to take the time out can extend the problem and lead to an unfavorable outcome or health issue or further propagation of the problem. This card can represent need for physical healing as well as mental. Can be recovery after surgery or medical procedure. Marilyn, honey, I think you picked up on the energy of the Four when we were in the energy of the Two, because I think this applies to BK.
Okay.
I think BK needs to take a step back, just a day or two, where you realign and you write out everything you want yourself to be and how you want it to be and what you feel from the inside of you, what you feel needs to be done to achieve it. And you need to have a strong or harsh talk with the universe and your doctors.
So this card here, one of the swords is, I always take that as there's an underlying issue because it's, but you're saying that that's the issue that needs to be put aside.
There is an underlying issue, and action needs to be put aside at this moment. He's got that sword laying beside him because there's a battle he needs to face, but right now is not the time to face it.
Okay, so that's why he's meditating, getting his thoughts, getting everything together, doing a strong visualization of what needs to be done. Action will be taken, and then he could take on the other issue.
Right. He'll jump up off that table and yield that sword and make progress. He'll go into the reverse, which is renewed action.
There you go, BK.
So the renewed action, the time of rest and recovery has been taken, and clarity in circumstances is at hand. It's now time to begin the process of finalizing an issue. There's that sword laying next to him. Although great strides are necessary, it's important to pace oneself in the process. The desire to go gangbusters may be at hand, but it's important to remain stable as the Fours represent stability. Bridled and precise actions made in balance, well thought out steps will lead to additional victories. Can be a return of a relationship after a breakup or separation, a return to work after layoff. The energy of the card is evident now as we are coming out of the lockdown and moving forward in recovery after the pandemic. We are perfectly in a Four of Swords energy right now.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. Powerful. We're only going to go to the 6.
Okay.
We got to get through the 5. I can't deal with the 5 next week. Oh, this one's heavy. Let's just go through it. This card represents hurt and devastation by another, which lead to feelings of rage, revenge, grief, and overwhelming demand to compete and to win. It's a one-up over someone. It's a card of emotional turmoil, the desire to hurt someone who has hurt you. The energy on the card is they're robbing, they're picking up the spoils from the grave. They're picking up the spoils from the dead bodies that were killed in battle. They used to do that. They would take the swords and the weapons. They'd take all their money. If sometimes they would take their teeth as trophies, rings, their clothing, their shoes, anything of value they would take. So there's a real aspect of selfishness, greed, and I got you in the face of this card. When this falls, the person being read should check their motives to make sure that they may be based in low destructive emotions. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to knock you out. I'm going to beat you up. I'm going to hurt you. If they gain over their adversary in this manner, the result is not going to be fulfilling and it will be karmic. Sometimes the cards, this is a hard one. The card can tell the questioner to be a bit selfish in their focus, but not in a way that's hurtful of others. So it can represent that the person being read needs to be selfish a bit.
Well, yeah, I kind of, well, I think I read Myron with this, and on this card, I think I took it more as a victory.
There has been a victory because they're collecting the spoils, but the victory has been fueled by rage and negative emotions, most likely. So there is a need for a little bit of selfishness, but it needs to be balanced. It needs to not be in a hurtful way. This isn't a main meaning of the card. It's sort of a sideline meaning of the card. It can represent an imbalance and desire within the questioner to hurt or harm for vengeance, or the questioner should watch their back as these energies could be at play in and around them emotionally charged in circumstance. Cover for clarity. What I'm getting at there, which I didn't word very well, is this can represent that the questioner's being a booger, or it can represent that somebody's being a booger to the questioner. So how do you rectify that? How do you resolve it? You ask and you cover. You just simply ask the person, so are you going through a situation where somebody's being mean to you? Well, yes, I am. And then they're going to go, oh my God, you're psychic. When you reverse it, it remains very much the same as the upright, although the emotional charge may be even stronger and the seeker could be even more embroiled in their pursuits. Now we're really mad. Now we're fighting mad. We're mad as a hornet. In the reversed, it's much more likely that the pain has been done to the questioner. So somebody has messed over the person getting the reading. This is a very clouded card in its meaning and could represent a situation in which harm has been done to the questioner by another, or the questioner has done harm to another from a negative place emotionally. You can cover for clarity, or if necessary, simply ask for a bit of background on the circumstance at play. It can be a process in the reversed, guys, where they're stuck in that. And although there may have been forgivenesses and an attempt to heal and to bless and to move on, they can't.
And this in the 4th position could be past life or something in the past that really hurts you.
If this card falls in the past position, this is most likely an abusive childhood, an abandonment, child abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse. There's damage. If this falls in the past position, distant or recent, somebody has really done a number, heart-wise, mind-wise, and possibly even physically. It can be hurt that's overwhelming and it capacitates, and resentment turned into bitterness. This, if it falls in those past positions, there's most likely emotional scarring, upright or reversed. I don't like this card. It's a hard card. It's a hard card to see, and unfortunately, you see it. You never know what somebody's going to come to you with. Trust me, I've heard things that you make your hair stand right on end and dance. It's crazy, some of the things that people experience. 6. Whew. Gets a little better. This is a movement card. It is a journey card. It represents travel. It represents movement. It's leaving a difficult situation behind. You can't see it in this card, but you can in the rider. If you notice, the water here closest to the reader is really rough, but the water in the direction they're going is smooth and placid. So smoother water is ahead is the symbolism. And the water, calmer waters, representing a shift in emotional perspective or moving to an easier circumstance. With the swords, guys, the swords are mental. So it can be the changing of a situation in the physical world, or that can actually be propagated by a shift in perception and thought. Aid and assistance is available to help make the transition into a better place, most likely. I always bring that up because if it's there and the aid and assistance is present, the person being read may have come out of a situation where they're not yet able or ready to see that someone is actually trying to help. Accepting something for what it is and moving on and beyond it, letting it go. There could be some sense of defeat and humiliation, but the attitude and emotional attachment have shifted to be much more positive. Can be a change of heart or mind, or a physical change such as a change of residence, region, or even country. Can be a change of job, leaving an unfavorable situation for one that's much better, leaving the old to make room for the new, leaving an unfavorable relationship to make room for a new one that better serves. All right, when we reverse it, there ain't no more movement. We go back into an emotional, mental, or physical standstill. The inability to move on, stuck in a negative situation with a negative point of view. The refusal to let go, holding on to negative situations either out of fear or just out of anger or spite. A lot of people get stuck in the aspect of anger and fear because they think it makes them feel empowered. They think that it is actually an empowerment because when we feel it, the hormones get to raging and adrenaline is released in the body and we do feel more charged, but that's actually detrimental to the physical self if you stay in it. So it's an illusion that it's an empowerment. Stuck, stagnant, and having to continue, allowing a negative situation to fester until movement can be made. No travel, no journey, no change of residence, no change of job, no change in relationship. Staying with the status quo, although it's not the best action. Self-imposed limitations. Okay. It's 8:21. We're going to stop there. We'll start next week with the 7. We'll go through and learn the entire rest of the deck, and we'll probably do it quickly. and then we'll spend time and try to do at least 2 Celtic cross readings, and we'll try to do it card by card in position. I'll shut up and let you guys do it, so that it's more understandable, and I'll interject as necessary. So I hope that didn't create too much confusion for you, Marilyn, because it was all over the place. Stuff was coming everywhere. As you work with the cards, and I'm gonna tell you this, I've already seen someone in my class that's already laying cards down, and information is swirling all around the room, and it's coming from everywhere, and they might not even be having to look at the cards because it's just happening. So that's the goal. That's why I teach to read the way I teach to read. So it's a better, stronger way. And boy, are you going to be secure in your ability to do so. So if you have any questions or anything, you can email me. Victoria, I am going to view your video as soon as we hang up this call, and I'm going to give you feedback. Good job tonight, girl. Fantastic. Judy, thank you for your comment for Victoria as well. That's very helpful. You guys did a great job on the reading. And BK, if you want to stick around, we can do that exercise.
Sure.
All right, let me stop the share here. I'm going to stop the share. Now, if you guys want to stay in, you can stay in, because this is a good thing for you to learn. And I'm actually I'll just leave the recording running, okay? I learned this in holistic massage school. And the precept on this is that pain of any kind, issues and obstacles can be a pain. They're a pain in our ass. That's a pain. It's a demand for attention. So as soon as you take your attention, your full attention, and put it on the pain, it gets its moment in the spotlight. Doesn't need to be there anymore. Okay. So BK, I want you to sum up your medical situation and the pain that is in your physical body, all of the pain that's in your physical body. I want you to close your eyes and take a deep breath, and I want you to do a very strong visualization and tell me when you have an image of it.
Okay.
Where is it centered in your physical body?
It's like wrapped around my elbows.
Okay. And what shape is it?
It's like a snake.
What color is it?
Green.
What does it smell like?
Something spoiled.
What's it taste like?
Oh, God. Something rancid. Or
Okay.
soured.
All right. Keep your eyes on it. And I want you to breathe in really deep. I want you to breathe in underneath it and all around it. And I want you to blow out, BK, like you're really angry and you're trying to expel something from your body. Good job. Now look at it. How big is it now?
It's smaller. It's still like a snake wrapped around, like it goes from one elbow and up around my neck, and around the other elbow and then around my legs. But the color has become more of a lighter yellow.
Okay, perfect.
And it's skinnier.
Perfect. What's it smell like?
Sour milk.
What's it taste like?
Cigarettes.
Okay. Go ahead, breathe in really deep. Blow it out like you're angry, like you're expelling something out of your body. Now look at it. How big is it now?
It's wrapped the same, but it looks like it's a piece of paper. It's like a white ribbon of paper. like a cash register receipt almost.
Okay. I want you to breathe in really deep underneath it, blow it out really hard. Good job. Now, how big is it?
It's smaller.
Breathe in really, really deep, blow it out, and do that exercise 3 times. And now look at it. How big is it now?
It's like a mist. It's just like a hovering mist.
Okay.
Not as wrapped around.
Okay. I want you to physically raise your arms. Breathe in deeply. And as you exhale this time, I want you to gutturally say, go.
When I breathe out, say it, or when I breathe in, say it.
When you breathe out, say it.
Go!
Now look at it. How big is it now?
Yeah, I don't see it now.
How do you feel?
Okay, better.
There you go.
Okay, cool.
Hey, and you can do that exercise. But sweetheart, I also want to point out to you that was wrapped around your arm, wrapped around your neck, wrapped around your other arm, and around your legs. That's related to that life in religious service when your hands were tied.
Oh, yeah.
And honey, you're responsible for doing something that you didn't want to do. But you're not responsible.
Okay.
So I want you to focus on the possibility that there's a false sense of responsibility here.
Okay. That's interesting. And you know what? When I think about Louise Hay, I haven't read her stuff in years, but all the different things, there's a lot of diabetes in my family. I've been lucky. At this point, I haven't been diagnosed with diabetes, but I remember like the rejection of responsibility or over responsibility, which a lot of people in my family had, that was one of the emotional connectors with diabetes.
And I was going to ask you if you're diabetic, and diabetes draws a lot of inflammation to the body. So,
Yeah.
honey, you may not be diabetic, but your body may be acting diabetic.
Mm-hmm. And it's just both sides of my family, everybody.
All right. Try eating large quantities of blueberries and see what happens.
Oh, okay, cool. I just started doing that recently. So cool. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Powerful night tonight, guys. We did amazing work tonight. We learned a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll see you next week.
Good night.
Talk to you soon.
Good night.
Bye-bye.